Okay, very good afternoon. It's Vikram Sareen, Chief Architect Muller Technologies with Yogesh, our Chief Deployment Expert for AxiomProtect. Today we are going to start off with I would say the AxiomProtect features, which are basically all compiled into the dashboard that we have. That is what we call it as face. So this is one of the first videos that we're going to make for in terms of how Axiom can be configured from the dashboard. So in the part one, we are going to look into, sorry, oops, what's wrong? Okay, sorry. Okay, oops, yeah, okay. We are going to look into three things. One is going to be the channel management, unit management, and then operator management. Let me just quickly take some time to explain what does channel, unit, and operator means. Channel is essentially a disjoint virtual group which basically comprises of all the settings and all the web service calls, the operators, users, tokens, software, hardware, digital certificates, the settings, SMS, gateway, connectors, everything and anything which is under Axiom can be grouped under a channel. So meaning that you can use Axiom as a single hardware platform or a base platform, and then you can create multiple channels. And each channel can be dedicated for your particular application. All the users, operators, and all the settings will be kept disjoint. That means there will not be any overlap between two channels. So let's say in one of the channel, corporate banking, I want to keep my one-time password as length of 8, and on the other side for retail banking I want to keep the length as 6. So to manage this kind of I would say settings and configuration, a disjoint channel concept is being used. The second is units. Again, in the context of units, that means everything is let's say I'm a big organization. I have one office in New York, one office in Singapore, Sydney, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, or possibly in India. So I have all these I would say units that are spread across the globe, or within the country or within the state, based on how you're structured. So you can actually create units, and inside those units you can have operators. So these are the operators who will actually manage the system, and they will basically be responsible for the token management, certificate management, user management, and all the other things. So let's quickly get started. I think what I'll do is I'll start off with logging in. So this is the system owner that is coming in, sysadmin, so he gets to see everything. Now over here, the first screen, what you see is the channel management, and it shows you basically what channel is there, how many sessions and how many operators, users, tokens, certificates that are being a part of this channel. So if there was more than one channel, you would be able to see it here. If I want to add a new channel, it's quite straightforward. I just come over here, fill up my details of the channel I want to create. So let's say I'm coming over here. If I want to keep it active, I'll keep it active. That means that it is operational, it is working. If you suspend it, that means it will not be usable, or any operator can log in, or any web service will be called in. Now over here you can also create the first sysadmin of that particular channel. So meaning that, for example, I say, okay, it's me, Vikram sysadmin, that's what I want to create, and then I put my email ID over here, and then my phone number. Now what this part does is that these three form fields essentially create the first sysadmin operator of the new channel test RIB that you're going to create. So this ensures that the new operator, the sysadmin role operator or the super user operator, gets created when the channel gets created, and then this operator will be able to log in and then do all the necessary things like the way I have done it over here. Yeah. So what will happen is that when I press create new channel over here, the email ID will be used for sending the password of this operator that is being created. So please make sure that the email ID is correct, and please make sure that the system, that means the first default channel, which is this channel, the face channel, is already configured properly with a email gateway. So if the email gateway is not configured properly, or if the email ID is wrong, then the operator will not get the password for the new channel that is being created. Yeah. Okay, now let's get into a few of the details of channel management. Again, active inactive, quite straightforward. That means once you suspend it, nobody can use it. Enable remote and disable remote. Now, enable remote access, what it means is that any third party, so let's say if I'm using it with my VPN or using it with my WordPress or using it with my trading platform or core banking or so basically internet banking, mobile banking, all these other platforms, then when they're making a connection inwards to AxiomProtect and you want to allow or block the remote access which is being made by them, this is the setting that will be configured over here. So if you say enable, that means it will be allowed. If you say disable, it will not be allowed. Next, I'm going towards the edit channel. Quite straightforward. You cannot change the name. You can because it's already being published, it's already being used, all the settings are pertaining to this, so you cannot change it. What you can change is the remote access ID and also the password for that. So let's say if you want to periodically refresh the remote access, then you would come over here and you would also basically change them. Please do remember, if you change the remote access login ID and password, you have to go and tell the system that is connecting to Axiom to also change. If they do not change, then they will not be able to connect, and they will basically all the operations or all the visitors that are being offered, that will not work. Then the other setting is session expiry. So whenever a communication, let's say in example of a banking setup, internet banking is making a call to Axiom, so they will create an open session using their credentials, the login ID and password, and then when they do that, each session will have a persistent validity, meaning that whether it is valid for 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 1 year. So you can actually specify that particular timeline over here, which is in minutes. And proceed ahead with that. So essentially, when I say remote access, what it means is that sorry, I think so let me just show you that every system that is going to call Axiom, they are actually going to use the API called open session through the WSDL or WADL, that means RESTful APIs, or the SOAP APIs, SOAP web service. And over here, sorry, okay, so over here if you see, these are the information that is coming over here. So what I'll do is I'll just change it and I'll show you. See, it doesn't work because it doesn't allow. Now I'm changing it back, and over here you see that you got the new session ID that is being used. Now this session ID will be valid for the time frame which I had just shared with you over here. So let's say if it was 5 minutes, then it will be valid for 5 minutes, or if it was, let's say 1 year or 6 months or 3 months, that's up to you. You can do that. Okay. Other thing is you want to view the details. It's quite straightforward. So that's the channel ID which you're going to pass it. So this is the channel ID which is being given, or which is to your partner. And if you see over here, when we make the SOAP call, it is the channel ID that is being given. So channel ID can be picked up from here, and that's the interface, and that's the core web service that gets published. Okay, now below part, which is what you see from 5 to 10, is essentially the basically a snapshot of what exactly is happening in terms of users and OTP and PKI tokens and all that. On the other hand, the item number 3 is below this is relevant, which is operator data source. What it means is that the operators will be read from either internal source, which is basically they are stored inside the database of Axiom, or they can be used from the LDAP or Active Directory. So over here, as you see, that I can specify the port and IP, and also say if it's HTTPS enabled, and then also put the either if it's database, you put the database name, table name, and also the authentication credentials. And then if it is what do you call it, LDAP, then you would put the DN and also the LDAP credentials to connect in. And the 3 parameters what we need, because when we connect to the database or when we connect to the LDAP, we want to know whether it is what is the attribute or what is the table column name that needs to be specified over here. So let's say for example it is the C name, in LDAP, or whether it's, let's say, email ID, and then over here it's like telephone. Yeah, so these are the three values that you have to tell us, which we should go and read from that particular source, whether it's LDAP or database or any other data source, and then we will query that. We will use these three attributes or these three column names to find out what is the value, and then based on that we will import it and then use that inside AxiomProtect in terms of operators. So this is a setting which is very specific to the operators. Yeah. So till now what we have done is we have covered the channel management. As you would see that it's kind of, it's giving you flexibility of to create the channels, then also the remote access, and also the operators that are coming inside it. And then the second part which we're going into is the units. Essentially units, as I explained you, that it is something which you can define. So whether it could be, let's say, a country or a company or a unit or a branch, so you can specify that over here. Again, quite straightforward. You can set it active, inactive. If you want to edit details, you can. Over here you can change the name, or you can change the threshold. So this threshold is for the number of operators that can be created inside a particular unit. So meaning that if I say I will only have 10 operators, then it will only allow 10 operators to be created. If I say 100, then it will only allow 100 to be created. And so over here you get to see, let me zoom in. Over here you get to see how many operators are there, how many active, how many are suspended, removed, how many are locked. Locked are the ones which have input wrong password, and then also the hardware token. This is for hardware token. Okay, my apologies. The threshold limit is nothing to do with operator count. It is to do with the hardware token count. Meaning that I'll just take an example, scenario that you have a branch in, let's say, let's say in Sydney, and then you have about 10 branches over there. So you will list down all the 10 branches over there. So let's say, you say one is Georgetown, one is, Liverpool, one is, Glenwood or Blacktown or Carlingford. Yeah, so you will create different units of that, and then in each branch you will say I want to give 50 or 100 tokens. So that means that's what you're going to specify over here, that what is the threshold that I want to give. So meaning you can give 100 tokens to, let's say, Carlingford branch, and then as soon as it reaches the count of 50, which is the threshold, then automatically it will send an alert to the operator, to the system owner, saying that Carlingford has dropped below 50, or it is almost around 50. Please, we need to refresh, or we need to send them more tokens. So in this way, the system itself is actually helping you keeping track of which unit is doing what, and if they are dropping below certain threshold, then it will be sent out. My sincere apologies for saying that the threshold was to do with operators. It's nothing to do with operators. It's to do with the hardware tokens that are part of that. Yeah. Okay. So as you would see, this one is suspended. This is active. Few other features like you want to switch or shift unit operators. So let's say if I have one unit which is no more there, or it's being merged, then I can actually say, okay, I want to shift from this to this particular other unit. That is what I want. Otherwise, other operations will be that I want to assign tokens. So meaning that, let's say if you send a box of, let's say, 50 or 100 tokens to a particular branch, then you want to actually upload the the set of serial numbers for each hardware token, and use that for telling that, okay, branch number Carlingford, we have sent you 50 tokens, and these are the 50 tokens that are going to come over here. So you can upload a file and then assign to them. And then other things are let's say free tokens between units. So let's say if you want to shift the tokens, the free tokens, from one unit to another, because it's not being used, so you want to move it to the other one. So all these features are part and parcel of the unit management. And then you can also say remove unit, so which will basically remove the unit and terminate it. Yeah. Now you can only remove the unit if there are no operators and no hardware tokens. Yeah. So essentially, basically, it should be empty before you remove it. So you should do a shift of the tokens or shift of the operators, and then after that you can remove that. Yeah. So this was something very quickly on the unit management, which is like kind of aggregating all the hardware tokens and the operators. And now we're going to the last one, that is the operator. Now operator firstly comes with different role. So as you would see over here, okay, let me talk about that a little bit later. So first thing, when you want to do a search, you can pick up based on all units or based on the different units that you have created, and you can also look at the status that we have right now. So what I'll do is right now I'll search on all for Yogesh. Sorry. So I have all these operators that are coming in, and as you could see that the unit is also mentioned. And then if I want to do the management, again, active and suspend. If it's suspend, the person cannot be logging in or do any action. I can edit the details. I can add date restriction. What date restriction means is that you want to add a specific access for the operator to come in. So meaning that, let's say you have an operator which is temporary and you only want to give them access for 1 month from today. So you'll come over here, you'll say, okay, from tomorrow till 31st of March, I want to grant the access. So this particular operator will only get the access once you have basically for that particular limit. So you will see over here is when it was given and when it will expire. Yeah. Going to the next one, obviously edit details. So you can edit any details, let's say phone number, email ID, and also the name. And you can also edit the particular unit that the person wants to, that the operator needs to be moved in. Then on the other hand, role. We'll talk about role in a bit more detail in the part 2. But these are the roles which are present right now, and you can move the operator to a different role. The whole idea over here is that let's say if somebody is moved to a particular department, or there's a change of role, or you want to bring other people into the team, so you want to give them different kind of roles, basically different kind of access to the system. So you have it over here. Then you have the password. Password is again that's what we use to log in. So as I logged into the dashboard, so I need to have access to that. So I can unlock the token, then I can send it, send the current password, or set a random one, and then also set and send the random password via email. So these are other different options that are given in. And then you can also download the audit logs. So meaning that if I want to pick up this particular operator and see that what all actions and operations this person has done, then I come over here and I can see that the person has already been coming in and he's entered 4 times wrong credentials, and then after that the account is being locked. Yeah. So again, I think so this was basically to cover the third part, which is the operators. So these are the 3 things that we have covered till now. So this is the part 1. We are making a lot of other videos which will be coming coming at good times to share with you what exactly Axiom is offering. Yeah. So that is the 3 things that we have covered now: channel, units, and operators. And in the second part we are going to go for a few other things that we'll share with you. If you have any questions or queries, please do send us an email, and we look forward to hearing from you and sharing more information that we can. Yeah. Thank you so much.